Welcome to the Morgan Mystery, where every shadow hides a clue, and every clue leads to a deeper truth. Tonight, we follow Detective Alfred Morgan, the man who uncovered the unsolved case that a very experienced policeman could not solve in his entire career, and unfolded the mystery of that unsolved case. Your support means everything to us. It keeps these investigations alive and the stories unfolding. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you listening from tonight? Now, let the mystery open its first door. It was in February last year when Charles Bennett and his friend Alfred Morgan travelled to attend the wedding of Mr. Brian West's daughter. The town lay a considerable distance from London, ancient, crowded, and rather unclean. The journey by train took them about 3 hours. Charles and Alfred had known Mr. West for many years. Once a police officer in London, Brian West had retired 2 years earlier and settled in his ancestral home. A genial and obliging man, he had written several letters imploring them to attend his daughter's wedding. Alfred happened to be free at the time, and so they decided to accept his invitation. When they arrived, the air was alive with the sound of Chennai, and the place was full of people hurrying about with the bustling excitement of a wedding. Mr. West received them warmly and led them to a decorated room meant for the bridegroom and his entourage later that evening. It was empty for the moment, and they made themselves comfortable there, being served tea and refreshments. "You must be very busy, Brian," Alfred said kindly. "Please, attend to your duties. We're quite at ease here." Mr. West looked visibly relieved and excused himself. Moments later, a deep voice rang out from outside. "Brian, I've come to see how you've arranged things for your daughter's wedding." Mr. West promptly went out and returned with an elderly gentleman. "I'm glad you've come, sir," he said. "Let me introduce my friends from London, Mr. Alfred Morgan, the renowned truth seeker, and Mr. Charles Bennett, the writer." "Yes, indeed," the old man replied, studying them keenly. "I've heard of both gentlemen." "This," said Mr. West, "is Mr. Nathan Blue, also a distinguished police officer. He too has settled here after retirement." Mr. Blue was tall and fair, well past 60, yet straight-backed and dignified. Though he carried a walking stick, he did not appear to need it. His voice was deep, and his manner carried the weight of authority. Alfred offered him a seat, and Mr. West, with their permission, went back to his guests. "Is your ancestral home here as well?" Alfred inquired. Mr. Blue shook his head. "No, my home was in East Bengal, but during partition everything was lost. I have lived here since my retirement." "Do you have any family here?" Alfred asked. "I have no relatives," Mr. Blue said simply. "I never married. My life was consumed by police work. There was little room for anything else. Yet I've always had an affection for this town. I began my career here as a sub-inspector, and curiously enough, this was my final posting too." Alfred smiled. "So you must love this place deeply. How long has it been since you retired?" 7 years, Mr. Blue replied. As often happened, the conversation soon turned toward Alfred himself. Mr. Blue regarded him thoughtfully, not with admiration, as others did, but with a kind of measured curiosity, as though weighing his intellect. "I've read about your cases, Mr. Morgan," he said at length. "You seem to have solved every one that came your way. Tell me, have you never failed? Never made a mistake?" Alfred smiled modestly. "I wouldn't claim perfection, sir. I've made mistakes, certainly, and in a few cases I failed to apprehend the criminal. But I have always uncovered the truth. You see, I call myself not a detective, but a seeker of truth. Still, I imagine you've handled far more cases than I ever could." Mr. Blue appeared satisfied by the answer. his tone softening as he replied, "There are many challenges in our profession. Most of our cases involve petty criminals. It's rare to find a truly significant one. In fact, I've often found it easier to catch the major offenders than the small-time crooks." "Doctors say the same," Alfred observed, with a faint smile. "It's often simpler to cure a grave illness than a common cold. Tell me, then, were you successful in all your major cases?" Mr. Blue fell silent for a moment, his sharp eyes narrowing as if in thought. "In most, yes," he said finally. "All but the last case of my career. That one took place right here, in this very town, and I could never solve it." Alfred leaned forward slightly. "You knew who the culprit was," he said quietly, "but you could not prove it. Is that what you mean?" Mr. Nathan Blue spoke hesitantly, his deep voice tinged with regret. "I was convinced that one particular man was involved," he said, "but I could never break his alibi. Then another incident occurred, one that turned all my investigations upside down. In the end, I never discovered who the real culprit was." Alfred remained silent, listening intently. Mr. Blue fixed him with a sharp gaze. "Do you want to hear the story?" "Of course," Alfred replied eagerly. "It sounds most intriguing." "You will be the judge of that," Mr. Blue said, a hint of challenge in his tone. "I will tell you everything I know about the case. Perhaps you will succeed where I failed." Alfred smiled modestly. "I don't think I could solve a case that has defeated someone of your experience, sir. I am only interested in hearing the story." With that, Mr. Blue began, his resonant voice commanding attention. Just before his retirement, Mr. Nathan had been posted in this town as the head of the local police station. He possessed 3 remarkable qualities: intelligence, diligence, and honesty. He never accepted bribes. Though the town was small, it had a reputation for criminal activity. Knowing it well, Mr. Nathan assumed control of the police administration with a firm and uncompromising hand. A year and a half passed, and under his guidance the town experienced an unusual peace. Mr. Nathan had a habit of making rounds twice a week at midnight, riding his bicycle through the streets without announcing his presence. One area, in particular, drew his attention, a part of the town especially prone to crime. Mr. Nathan knew every alley and bylane there, ensuring that the policeman on duty remained vigilant. Though his cycle had no lights, he carried a revolver and a torch at all times. On this particular night, the town was shrouded in darkness. Few people were about. The area he patrolled lay between the respectable homes of the well-to-do and the shadowy lanes frequented by criminals. Mango groves surrounded it, and a handful of dilapidated houses stood there. Its residents belonged neither to one world nor the other. As he moved quietly through the lanes, Mr. Nathan noticed a group of men carrying something resembling a bamboo cot on their shoulders about 50 yards ahead. Their movement struck him as suspicious. Quickly cycling closer, he flashed his torch and shouted, "Stop!" 4 men dropped the cot and scattered into the darkness, but Mr. Nathan had caught a clear glimpse of one of them. It was Stephen Grant, the owner of one of the houses in the area. Following them was futile. Mr. Nathan approached the cot and discovered the body of a young, healthy woman. There were no visible wounds, yet she was unmistakably dead. He blew his whistle, and gradually policemen and curious neighbours began to gather. The body was identified immediately. It was Grace, Stephen Grant's wife. Stephen was the only other resident of the house. Mr. Nathan led a few neighbours inside the house. It was large, with 6 rooms, though most remained unused. Only 2 rooms were occupied. The bedroom, which contained 2 beds, one slept in, the other untouched. The garden, filled with mango and jackfruit trees, was empty. Was the girl ill? Mr. Nathan asked the neighbours. No, one replied. I saw her this afternoon, talking near the gate with Victor Sanders. Victor Sanders? Who is he? He is a jeweller with a shop in the market, the neighbour explained. By now, more constables and the sub-inspector had arrived. The body was taken for post-mortem examination. Meanwhile, the neighbours lingered, whispering and gossiping. What is the name of her husband? Mr. Nathan asked. Stephen Grant, came the reply. And where is he? No one spoke. Eventually, a man muttered, Stephen goes out after dinner and doesn't return until 1:30 or 2 in the morning. Where does he go? He goes to Christine's shop to gamble, the neighbour said reluctantly. And where is Christine's shop? The address was given. Mr. Nathan left a constable at the house and took the sub-inspector with him to investigate the shop, promising the neighbours, I will return tomorrow morning to record your testimonies. Christine's shop was about half a mile from Stephen's house, near the edge of the marketplace. The establishment dealt in iron and steel and lay in an area known locally as Metal Street. Mr. Nathan Blue and the sub-inspector made their way through the deserted marketplace. Piles of iron rods lay scattered before the closed shop. Peering through a small hole in the window, Mr. Blue spotted 4 men seated on a carpeted floor, deeply engrossed in a game of cards. In the centre lay a pile of money. They were clearly gambling, playing flush for stakes. Signalling to the sub-inspector to wait at the door, Mr. Blue rapped sharply on the window. The men looked up nervously. One of them quickly scooped up the money and slipped it into his pocket. Open the door, Mr. Blue commanded in a firm voice. The men exchanged anxious glances. Who is it? One demanded. Police, Mr. Blue replied. Open the door. Finally, one of them rose, thin, skeletal, wary. Mr. Blue stepped aside, positioning himself in front of the door. The man glanced at the 2 officers and took a step back. What do you want? He stammered. Are you Christine? Mr. Blue asked. Yes, what is it? And who else is here with you? Chris swallowed nervously. 3 friends, he admitted. With that, Mr. Blue entered the shop, sub-inspector close behind. The adjacent office room revealed the 3 other men still engrossed in their card game. Their ages ranged from 35 to 40, their appearances unremarkable. The one dealing the cards, however, was muscular and assertive, a clear leader. Who is Stephen Grant? Mr. Blue asked. The stout man looked up calmly, collected the cards, and stood. I am Stephen Grant. What do you want? His voice was steady, his composure unwavering. You thought you could carry a dead body in the night and burn it at the funeral pyre site, leaving no evidence, Mr. Blue accused. All 4 men stared in surprise. Dead body? Whose dead body? Stephen asked, feigning ignorance. Don't play games, Mr. Blue said sharply. I saw you with the torchlight. You were one of the 4 carrying the corpse. Stephen scoffed. Which day are you talking about? Tonight, around midnight. We started playing cards at 8:30 in the evening. None of us left the room, Stephen replied boldly. So, you were gambling? Mr. Blue inquired. The 3 other men lowered their heads guiltily. Yes, Stephen admitted. The 4 of us play together sometimes. Realising he could extract no confession here, Mr. Blue decided to take them to the station. I am placing you under arrest for gambling. Come with us to the police station. There was some argument, but the men finally consented. If you manage bail, Mr. Blue added, I will release you tonight. As they walked to the station, Stephen asked in disbelief, "What were you saying about a dead body? Whose dead body?" "Your wife's," Mr. Blue replied. Stephen froze. "My wife? That cannot be... Grace? No, I am going home." "It is of no use. The body has already been sent for post-mortem," Mr. Blue said. At the police station, Mr. Blue began questioning the four men separately. Stephen was called in first. Sitting across the desk, he answered Mr. Blue's questions with practiced calm. "What work do you do?" "I manage various businesses. I am a man of means, not a petty tradesman." "Is the house yours?" "Yes." "When did you acquire it?" 5 or 6 years ago." "When did you marry?" 7 years back." "Where is your in-law's house?" "In this town." "What is your father-in-law's name?" "David Holden." "And where is he now?" "I'm not certain. Probably in jail." "Jail?" "Yes. He spends most of his time there." "Did you have a good relationship with him?" "I cannot stand him." After a moment's thought, Mr. Blue asked, "And your relationship with your wife?" Stephen hesitated briefly. "As good as possible after 7 years of marriage." "Do you have children?" "No. My wife was infertile." Stephen remained unshaken. "You are mistaken," he said calmly. "At midnight, I was in Christine's shop, playing cards with my friends." Mr. Blue pressed further. "What was your wife's character like?" Stephen shrugged. Who can judge the character of women? But the neighbours spoke ill of her. "What did they say?" "I often returned late at night," Stephen admitted. "It seems someone had been visiting Grace for the past few months." "And did you confront your wife?" "Yes. She insisted it was all lies." "Anything else?" "Well, once I opened her cupboard and found several pieces of jewellery I had never given her." "Did you ask her where they came from?" Stephen gave a bitter laugh. "What's the use? If a woman chooses to stray, no one can stop her." "But one can murder her." "I did not kill Grace," he said firmly. Despite Mr. Blue's persistent questioning, Stephen revealed nothing more. He appeared outspoken and honest, not evasive or deceitful. Next came Christine. Thin and infirm in body, but with a hard, unyielding heart, Chris maintained that the four men had played cards together from 8:30 p.m. until the police arrived. He was candid about his friendship with Stephen. Stephen had been poor in his early years, but had made a fortune through war contracts. He had married Grace despite warnings from friends. Her family's reputation was questionable. Her father was a thief, often imprisoned, and her mother's character had been compromised by a life in the slums. Even after Stephen became wealthy and purchased a house, his marriage had soured. He spent little time at home, yet Chris insisted emphatically that Stephen was not capable of murdering his wife. "He is a man of integrity," Chris said. "He has struggled through life and has a heart of gold." Mr. Blue asked about Grace's father, David Holden. 2 years ago, Chris replied, David Holden came looking for his daughter after his wife died. He stayed with Stephen and Grace for a few days, quarrelled with Stephen and left. I haven't seen him since. He was old and weakened by prison life. He must be dead. Danny Monroe, a wealthy coal and firewood merchant and another childhood friend of Stephen, testified next. He confirmed that Stephen had been playing cards that night and denied the allegations that Stephen had murdered his wife. When pressed about Grace's character, he declined to comment, merely noting that she did not come from a reputable family. Mr. Blue asked, "Do you have a shop near the burning funeral pyre site?" Danny hesitated, then admitted, "Yes, I have 2 go-downs in the town and one at the pyre site." "Will you tell me the truth now?" Mr. Blue asked sharply. "I am telling the truth," Danny replied firmly. Finally, Benjamin Doyle, a building contractor, polite, witty, and smooth-tongued, was questioned. Like the others, he insisted that they had all been playing cards from 8:30 p.m. until the police arrived. Yet Mr. Blue sensed that Doyle, while talkative and charming, was not entirely honest. "You are a contractor," Mr. Blue remarked. "You must have plenty of bamboo." "Yes, many," Benjamin said. "I need them for scaffolding." "You also use them to make cots for the dead," Mr. Blue said sharply. By the time Mr. Nathan Blue concluded the questioning, it was early morning. Despite his suspicions, he could not hold the men in custody. Their lawyer secured bail, and all four were released the following day. Mr. Nathan Blue was certain in his mind that Stephen Grant had murdered his wife, and that the other three men were involved in some way. Yet there was no proof, no witnesses to corroborate what he had seen. Their lawyer could easily discredit him in court. While he could press charges for gambling, the accusation of murder remained beyond his reach. Nevertheless, Mr. Blue continued his investigation diligently. He questioned Stephen's neighbours and two of his assistants before going to Stephen's house around 1 in the afternoon. A constable at the gate informed him that Stephen had returned at 11 and was resting inside. Entering the house, Mr. Nathan found Stephen asleep in one of the beds. The man stirred, opened bloodshot eyes at the sound of footsteps, and muttered sleepily, "Now, what do you want?" "We want to search the house," Mr. Nathan said. "Do what you want. Let me sleep," Stephen replied irritably, likely making up for a sleepless night. Yet Mr. Blue felt a surge of anger at his apparent indifference to his wife's death. "Sleep later. I want to see your wife's ornaments," Mr. Nathan insisted. Annoyed, Stephen rose, opened the cupboard and removed a box of jewellery. When Mr. Nathan asked which pieces he had not given his wife, Stephen handed over a ring, a pair of earrings and a hair clip. Mr. Nathan took them and placed them carefully in his pocket, promising to return them later. The police then conducted a thorough search of the house and garden, but found nothing incriminating. By about 3 in the afternoon, Mr. Nathan moved on to the shop of Victor Sanders, the jeweller. The shop was large, with workers crafting ornaments in one section. Victor sat in a well-decorated office, a man of 50 with refined tastes. He wore a silk shirt, an expensive suit, and a neatly trimmed moustache. Short and slightly plump, he attempted to disguise his bald pate with surrounding hair. Seeing the police at his door, he appeared momentarily nervous. "Has something happened at my shop?" he asked. "What has occurred?" "No," Mr. Nathan replied, taking a seat opposite him. "I have come to ask a few questions." "About what?" Victor inquired. "Stephen Grant's wife is dead. Do you know anything about it?" Victor leapt from his chair in shock. "Grace is dead, but I saw her last night." "She died last night," Mr. Nathan said, "but she seemed perfectly fine. How did it happen?" "I believe she was murdered," Mr. Nathan said calmly. "Murdered!" Victor exclaimed, sinking back into his chair and staring at the table. Then he slammed his hand down, muttering, "Stephen killed her. I am certain of it. He has a perfect alibi, but I don't care. He and his 3 friends did it. They are all capable of anything." "Did you know Grace long?" Mr. Nathan asked. "I have known her since she was 3 or 4, Victor said, then lowered his voice. "You are a policeman. I will not hide anything. 20 years ago, I had a relationship with Grace's mother. Grace's father was a scoundrel, a thief, a smuggler, and a drunkard. He could not support his wife and daughter, so Grace's mother... Let us leave that. A few years ago, she passed away. Before her death, she asked me to look after her daughter, as Stephen was not a good man. I could not refuse her last wish, so I often visited Grace's house. Her mother may not have been perfect, but she had a kind heart, and Grace inherited her sweet nature. A long silence followed. Finally, Mr. Nathan asked, "Then you suspect that Stephen murdered Grace?" Victor emerged from his thoughts and said absent-mindedly, "Yes, I believe so." "But what was his motive?" Mr. Nathan pressed. Victor explained, "When Stephen married Grace, he was poor. During the war, he became wealthy. Now he wants to be seen as respectable, associated with the upper class. But if Grace were alive, that would be impossible. Everyone knew the reputation of her family. So, he killed her. Once she was gone, he could remarry and establish himself as a gentleman." Mr. Nathan Blue asked Victor Sanders, "What was Grace's character and conduct like?" Victor leaned back in his chair, his voice measured. "She was a simple girl, without hypocrisy or cunning. Perhaps she enjoyed male company. She would often stand at the gate in the evenings and call people over to talk. One cannot blame her. Many of the women in the neighbourhood avoided her due to her family's reputation. She needed companionship. I can say with conviction that she had no other serious fault of character." Mr. Nathan then produced the ornaments he had taken from Stephen's cupboard and asked, "Can you recognise these?" Victor examined them, surprised. "Are these Grace's ornaments? I have never seen her wear them." "You never gave her any?" "No," Victor replied. "I gave her saris during the pujas and Holi, but no jewellery." "Were these made in your shop?" Mr. Nathan asked. Victor studied them closely. "No, they are not from my workshop." "Wait a moment," he called. "Ray Daniels, please come here." An elderly worker approached. Victor showed him the ornaments. "Did we make these, Ray?" Ray examined them carefully. "No, sir. These were made in London." "Very well, you may go." Mr. Nathan stood. "I will return if further questions arise." "Certainly," Victor replied. That evening, Mr. Nathan visited the civil surgeon, Major Burton, at his bungalow. His office was in one wing of the house. Major Burton was finishing his work when Mr. Nathan arrived. "I came to check on the report," Mr. Nathan said. "Sit down," said Major Burton. "I have completed the post-mortem. The official report will be ready tomorrow." "What did you find? When did she die?" "She died around 10 at night," the surgeon replied. "How did she die?" "There are no signs of assault," Major Burton explained. "Poison, then?" "No, not even poison," the doctor said slowly. "She was killed in a rather unusual way. Any military experience among your suspects?" "No," Mr. Nathan replied, "but her husband worked as a military contractor during the war and collaborated with American soldiers posted here. Why do you ask?" "The body shows no external injury," Major Burton explained, "but her thyroid cartilage was completely broken." "So she was throttled?" Mr. Nathan asked. "No," the doctor said. "If she had been throttled, there would be finger marks on her throat." Then, during the last war, soldiers were trained in unarmed combat. Imagine a battle in the jungle. You are unarmed, your opponent has a weapon, and you cannot escape. The method taught was to sidestep, turn, and strike the enemy's throat with the side of the palm. The thyroid cartilage breaks instantly, causing immediate death, something like a modern karate chop. "Instant death?" "Yes," Major Burton confirmed. Mr. Nathan asked, "Are you certain that Grace was killed this way?" "I am certain." "All right," Mr. Nathan said. Tomorrow I will send someone for the formal report." Returning to the police station, Mr. Nathan was convinced that Stephen had murdered Grace. Yet one mystery remained. Who had visited Grace at night? Who had given her the ornaments? And what was their relationship? If he was merely a friend, why would he kill her? The next day, Mr. Nathan went with a sub-inspector and a constable to Stephen's house, determined to extract a confession. The house was wide open and empty. Calling out repeatedly, he entered the bedroom, only to stop short in shock. Stephen lay dead on the floor. The previous night, Stephen had gone to a friend's house to play cards, returning around midnight. What happened afterward remained unknown. The post-mortem report, provided by Major Burton, revealed the same cause of death. A single blow had broken the thyroid cartilage. Grace and Stephen had died in the same manner. After recounting the events to Alfred, Mr. Nathan paused, waiting for questions, his mind racing with the remaining mysteries. Mr. Nathan Blue leaned back in his chair, his eyes steady. "I have told you everything I know. At first, I believed Stephen had killed Grace, but then Stephen was killed in exactly the same way. The man who murdered Grace must have killed Stephen as well. Can you guess who it might be?" Alfred listened attentively. "I have a few more questions," he said. "I will answer them if I know the answers myself," Mr. Nathan replied. Alfred asked, "Who is Stephen's heir?" "A cousin," Mr. Nathan said. "Stephen had no will. His widow, penniless, inherited all his property." "And what about his 3 friends on the night of his death?" "After Stephen went home, they played cards nearly all night at Christine's shop. I had informers watching them. They did not kill Stephen." "Victor Sanders?" "No, I never suspected him. What motive would he have? He genuinely cared for Grace." "And David Holden?" "He was incapacitated with a severe dysentery attack in a village 50 miles away. He could hardly move, and he could not possibly know the technique used to kill in that particular manner." "Do you think Grace had a loose character?" Alfred asked. "No," said Mr. Nathan firmly. "She was a good girl." Alfred paused, thinking deeply. "But she was born of a woman with a questionable past. What was her name?" "Amy," Mr. Nathan said quietly. Alfred looked up, staring at Mr. Nathan Blue. Mr. Nathan returned the gaze, his body stiffening for a moment before he relaxed. "Do you want to know anything else?" he asked. Alfred shook his head. "There is nothing else to know." Mr. Nathan's tone turned sarcastic. "Have you understood anything?" Alfred replied gravely, "Mr. Nathan Blue, I have understood everything." Mr. Nathan was silent for a while. "You have understood who killed Grace?" he asked cautiously. "Yes," Alfred said calmly. "Grace was murdered by Stephen." "Really? Then who killed Stephen?" "Stephen was killed by Grace's father." "Grace's father? But I just told you, David Holden was ill 50 miles away." "I am not speaking of David Holden," Alfred said quietly. "I mean Grace's natural father, her biological father." Mr. Nathan went very pale, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Natural father? Who do you mean?" Alfred shook his head, a trace of sadness in his eyes. "You know who I am referring to, Mr. Nathan Blue. Perhaps you should not have told me this story." Before Mr. Nathan could respond, Mr. Brian West entered the room. "Alfred Morgan, lunch is ready. Please have your bath. Mr. Nathan, why don't you stay for lunch too?" Mr. Nathan rose hastily. No, I must go. I am already late." Without a backward glance, he left the room. After lunch, Alfred and Charles were relaxing again in the same room. Charles asked, "How did you deduce so much about Mr. Nathan Blue?" Alfred replied thoughtfully, "While listening to his story, I sensed he had a favourable disposition toward Grace, even though he claimed never to have known her personally. According to his account, Grace appeared flirtatious, her husband suspected her, and an unknown man visited her at night. Yet Mr. Nathan's attitude toward her was sympathetic. Grace's mother was not an ideal model of fidelity, and her husband, David Holden, spent more time in prison than out. So Grace's father could not have been David. Victor Sanders could not have been her father either. He had known Amy when Grace was only 3 or 4. Then who was this mysterious visitor? Mr. Nathan told them before even beginning his story that his first posting was in this town. David Holden was a professional thief. It seems that Nathan may have gone to Amy and David's house, either to investigate or attempt an arrest. It was during that time that the young policeman developed a relationship with the attractive wife of the thief. Alfred spoke slowly, his eyes focused on Charles. After a year or two, Mr. Nathan was transferred from this town. By then, he had discovered that he had a daughter from Amy, and her name was Grace. Even when posted elsewhere, he kept in touch with Grace and her mother. Being unmarried, Grace was his only blood relative. Towards the end of his career, he was posted back to this town. By that time, Grace's mother had passed away, and Grace herself was married. Mr. Nathan had a habit of patrolling the town at night on his bicycle to keep watch. It was during these nighttime rounds that he met Grace, and even presented her with a few pieces of jewellery. She may or may not have known the exact nature of their relationship, though she could have suspected it. Unfortunately, the neighbours jumped to conclusions, believing she met a lover at night in the absence of her husband. Alfred leaned back. On the night Grace was murdered, Mr. Nathan was probably on his way to see her. From the story he later related, we can piece together what happened. Stephen killed his wife and enlisted the help of his friends that night to dispose of the body. Their plan was to leave no trace, and the following day claim she had eloped. They were indeed loyal companions. Mr. Nathan brought all 4 men to the police station, but could not find a flaw in their alibi. Frustrated at his inability to punish his daughter's murderer through legal means, he took matters into his own hands. Within 24 hours of Grace's death, he killed Stephen in exactly the same manner Stephen had killed Grace. He had learned the technique of killing without weapons, as described by the doctor. Alfred's voice grew quieter, reflective. But Charles, everything I have just told you is based on deduction and supposition. I could only be certain if I had proof that Mr. Nathan was Grace's father, so I decided to set a trap. He paused, a faint smile crossing his face. I suddenly asked him what was the name of Grace's mother. Without hesitation, he replied, Amy. How could he possibly know that? No one had mentioned her name in connection with the case, and she had died 10 years ago. At that moment, I knew my suspicions were correct. From the expression on his face, I realised that the unknown culprit Mr. Nathan had been chasing was, in fact, Mr. Nathan Blue himself.